Hi guys! For those who don't know, my name is Jasmine. I'm a qualified counsellor and all-round awesome person, and I'm going through the next big stage of my life, which is weight loss surgery. And I gotta admit, today I'm a bit mad. I went and saw my GP today, and they had the audacity to turn around to me and say, you should lose some weight. But it's never, you should lose some weight. Now is it? Every time I go and see the GP, almost every time, I hear something along the lines of, you should take up walking. A bit of extra exercise and a bit more water in you and you can lose that weight in your legs. Or, why don't you try place diet here to lose some weight? It worked for me. Or I get the, why don't you just eat less and exercise more? Now, of course, it's not just GPs who have said this to me over the years. It's been friends, it's been family, it's been strangers walking down the street. But so many people over the years have said something to that effect to me. Why not just eat less and exercise more? And this particular trip to the doctor, I just snapped. I immediately retorted to them, do you not know that we've been programmed since the dawn of our time to overeat? The whole idea for us in caveman times was to overeat on anything we hunt or we gather on the grounds of just in case it's another 4 or 5 days before we eat again. As we were developing, we developed that trait to overeat just in case something happens and we have no food available. That way we can rely on our fat storages to keep us alive. Even if you go back to medieval times, food was a bit more readily available then, but being able to maintain a heavy weight meant that you had more resources and it was desirable in those times. I mean, look at the kings, queens, lords and ladies of that era. They weren't stick thin. And yet this is the same trait that our brains have taken us throughout time. And now that food is more readily available and we have easy ways to access that food, we've got fridges now, we've got cars to take us through drive-thrus whenever we want. We don't have to overeat to the same extent that we did back in those days. So that easier access to food and less struggle to get it has resulted in us, in a way, gaining weight. Yes, but that's also increased what they call a set point in our brains. That set point is where the mind is comfortable with the body being at in terms of size and weight. And it is set to the highest weight that you have been. So let's say my set point at the moment is at 170 kilos. That is the highest weight I have ever been. Now, if I was to go onto any typical fad diet, sure, I might lose weight for the first 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks. But sooner or later, my brain is going to catch up to the fact that I'm not consuming as much as I should to maintain the set point of 170 kilos. So what's it going to do? It's going to slow down the metabolism and give me sweet cravings for things that my brain knows consciously is high in calories. But it doesn't care because that means that my weight's going to go back to meeting that set point where it's happy. And it's once the body gets to a really high set point, things start to not work. Where we start developing things like diabetes or arthritis or osteoporosis or cancers or whatever else is correlated with obesity. And as I explained before, taking these fad diets will only work in the short term, particularly with, in my case, my set point being so bloody high. So that's where surgery comes in. Now let's put this in a way that anybody's going to understand. Let's say I am a car, right? My central processing unit, or the equivalent, is my brain. My fuel tank is my stomach, and intestines, they're a part of the fuel dispersal. My CPU is constantly channeling to the fuel tank to grumble and alert me to eat, to take in fuel, okay? Over time, that's led to a bigger and bigger car. And now this car is not running efficiently. It's as if the connection between the two here are faulty. So what do we normally do with a car that we think is faulty and needs a tinkering with to be fixed? We take it to a mechanic. And that's what I'm doing here. I am taking this car to a mechanic, i.e. the surgeon, to tinker with my fuel tank and reset the connection between the CPU and the fuel tank. Because once it's been tinkered with, there's no way you can handle as much food. So my fuel tank can communicate to up here saying, we can't take any more. And it will get to the point where up here my CPU won't be able to maintain that high set point. And what does that mean? This car gets smaller. This car becomes more efficient. This car can then eat less and exercise more. So to anybody who turns around to me and also says, like this doctor, that I should simply eat less and exercise more, or not consider weight loss surgery because it's cheating, I tell them that analogy. If you were a car and you realized that parts of you were faulty, would you or would you not go to a mechanic? I've realized that parts of me are faulty, so I'm taking myself to a human body mechanic, the surgeon, to tinker with my fuel tank and reset the connection between my brain and my stomach. Going through this surgery and having your fuel tank tinkered with means that you are resetting your stomach. You are resetting the connection between your head, your brain, and your stomach so that you run more efficiently. It's no easy feat. It's not a decision people take lightly, but we make this decision because we know the connection between our CPU and our fuel tank needs to be reset. I'm leaving it there for now because I think I've got all my frustration out. Safe to say, after that rant to the doctor, I'm not seeing them again. If you like this kind of video or wanted to add more to my rant, feel free to mention something in the comments below. If there's anything that you don't agree with in this video, by all means mention it in the comments. And if you feel that this needs to be shared with someone who perhaps thinks that weight loss is just a matter of eating less and exercising more, by all means share it with them. Because weight loss is simply not that simple. Until next time, in case no one's told you today, you're all awesome. And I'll see you in the next video.